First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Give honors to my elders, apostles, GMS, and whom the truth resides. Peace and blessings also to Akim that's out here teaching this truth for the love of the gospel and sincerity and truth. All right, this is Qam YASHARAHLA. But I sit down, I was contemplating the word pork. I was at work, and people at work offer you a lot of food, man. You gotta watch the shit you eat. And I'm known as a finicky eater at my job. But as I was sitting there, I just wondered. I was like, man, why do they call pork? And it's a pig, but I looked up the etymology of the word, and it doesn't mean pork. So I Googled it. And this article came up. It said, why is pig meat called pork and cow meat called beef? And I wondered that too. I was, wow, okay, let me look into this and just get a little bit of clarification, man. All right. He said, when you stop and think about it, let me read the article. Let me just read some of it. He said, when you stop and think about it, it's actually quite strange that pig meat is called pork, cow meat is called beef, sheep meat is called mutton. Well, it was in certain parts of European, it was called mutton. But here we just call it lamb or goat. All right, and deer meat is called venison. What's even stranger is that chicken meat is still called chicken, and fish is fish. So what gives? The answer actually involves a rather complicated lesson in etymology, but we'll try to put it as simple as possible. All right, and that's good because that's what we do. Look up words. All right, it said according to E. Gutlet, it all goes back to the normal quest of Britain in 1066, when the French took over England, and they became two ways to say a whole lot of words. And from the gastronomic standpoint, the French won out. Oh yeah, it's like you gotta forgive me. I'm like I can't really see that well. Okay, as they usually do. This is likely because the lower class Anglo-Saxons were the hunters, so we get the animal names from them. Bullshit. We got the animal names from Adam. All right. And the upper class French only saw these animals on the dinner table, so we get the culinary term for them. So the Anglo-Saxon pig became French porca, which was Anglicized to pork. The Anglo-Saxon cow became the French boeuf, which became beef. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Which became beef, and sheep became mutton. Later, mutton, even chicken, got a new culinary name, pullet, which is the Anglicized version of the French poulet, and is now only used to refer to a young hen. All of those French terms are still the French words for these animals, as well as their meat. Today, as the fish. Today, as for fish, we most likely still call it fish because the French term for it, poisson, is too close to the English word poison. Okay, well, the brother, the elder Dimash brother, me and the brother went to culinary school together, and we found out that the French did name a lot of the culinary art um, thing comes from French. All right, and they call what they call the person that handles the shrimp and shellfish is called la poisonnière. Okay, that's not far fetched, you know. Um, that fish was called poisson. They didn't want to call it poisson, poisson, or because it was too close to the word poison. Which a certain person that handles the shellfish is called le poisonnière. All right, because that shit is poison. All right, the reason behind calling deer meat venison is slightly more complicated. They say, but still has to do with the normal uh, normal invasion. Envision, Slacker. He said, deer in French is surfer, which does sound much like venison. According to Yahoo, the word venison derives from the Latin word venor, meaning to hunt or pursue, following the invasion. That's invasion, and the establishment of the royal forest. Any hunted animal was called venison after it was killed because more deer were hunted than any other animal. The name stuck. The normal invasion effect on the English language really can't be understated. Other words that now have two ways of saying them, thanks to the French influence, including the Anglo-Saxons, wanted the normal desire, asked to inquire, and hid to obscure it to obscure. You're also probably pronouncing these 30 food words incorrectly. Okay. All right, that's it. All right, yeah, man. Let me get a scripture because it wasn't always so that we. Well, the scriptures doesn't say. Let me get I'm gonna go and read this. This is Isaiah 64, 65 and 4. All right, which remained, and this is when Isaiah was talking about sacrificing to idols. He said, and people they provoked me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificed in the gardens and burned incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine flesh and both of abominable things in their vessels. Right, because it was never called pork in the scriptures. It was called swine's flesh. That's what we related it to. And it was known to be an abominable creature because back in Genesis, Yahweh Shai told us not to eat of the pig, all right, of the swine. We'll go back. I'm gonna go to Genesis in a minute. He said, "Which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nostrils, a fire that burneth all the day. Behold, it is written." Okay, it's like, let me go back. Okay. All right, Isaiah 66 and 17. And he said that they sanctify themselves. What was it, 65? Okay, I could have just went down. All right. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and abominations, and the mouth shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. Okay, yeah, because like I said earlier, it was never called pork in the scriptures. Okay. Okay, let's get okay. VENI venison. Okay, this is Genesis 23. This is Genesis 23. Sorry, it's like a 27 and 3. He said, "Now therefore take, I pray thee, the, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison." All right, let's look up that word venison. 27 and 3. All right, let's see what the scripture says. All right, what am I doing? Well, for some reason I cannot access my blue letter on that phone. I don't know what's up, man. I gotta check that out. Okay, so I'm gonna just look it up on my other phone and then I'll read it. Okay. 27 and 3. It says venison, hunting game, hunted, provision food supply. All right, so that definition that we read earlier was right. From a form of meaning, and meaning the same. The chased, also game, thus taken, general lunch for a he said catch food, hunter, that which he took in hunting, venison, victuals. Okay, so that definition was on point. Okay, so yeah, let me read one more. Let me go ahead and read 25. He said, "And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of the venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob sod pottage. And Esau came from the field and was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. All right, because that meat was not done yet. All right, because it was red. All right, and everybody knows when you cook, and then the derivative of red blood, when it's red, when it's actually we kind of kosher our meat, and what that means is you soak it in salt and let all the blood come out of it. But when meat is cooked and there is blood in it, it turns a brown. Okay, that's why Esau, when he eats his steak, at steak houses and stuff, his plate is saturated with blood on the plate. All right, because if you cook meat well done, everyone knows it turns brown. All right, so this is why we know this, and then according to his name, all right, he ate that raw meat. All right, let me get another scripture, and this is an apocrypha, man, because it was also called swine flesh in the apocrypha. Okay, Maccabees 1:1. He says, set up. All right, let's go back. This is another account of him burning abominations and sacrificing to idols. He said, for the king had sent letters by messenger unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice the drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh, unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Okay. To the end. Okay. Yeah. Let me go back. Yeah. So, yes, it's called swine's flesh shear also. All right. And this is jump up. 2 Maccabees 6:18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. All right. Again, swine's flesh is not called pork. Okay, and that's probably a reason. And that I read earlier that it was a lot of those words were put in place for Newspeak, man, to confuse people, because I'm pretty sure when it first came out, it was called pork. Unless you knew the animal it came from, if you presented it to someone, they probably ate it and say, "Oh, this is pork." All right. So that's what Esau is about, man. It's about confusion. All right. This is 2 Maccabees 7:1. He said, it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourging and whips. All right, so they actually forced our people to eat this shit, man. Which now you don't have to force Jake to eat shit, man. Jake is down with eating pork, man. And like the scripture says, man, to everything in moderation, man. Like we should be abstaining from pork completely. All right, but red meat also is just detrimental to our health. Everything is over here in America and Babylon is bad for you, man. All right, so really take a look at going vegan some days, man. A no meat Tuesday, or just a salad. Abstain from this red meat, man, because everything in this devil's kingdom, man, is bad for you. All right, man. That was just a little something, man, I was interested in. Hope the elect was edified. It was just something I just put together. Hope the elect was edified. Peace and blessings to Qam. It's out here teaching this truth for the 4 corners of the earth, for the love of the gospel. Also, double honors to my elder apostles, GMS, from whom the truth resides, and to Yahweh that's out here learning the silence and being blessed, whatever Yahweh Shah may find your hands to do. All right, shalom.